The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, developed by Sumo Digital and Gun being the team behind 2017's Friday the 13th game, was released on August of last year. The game's launch was a success in terms of player base. It racked up over 17,000 players on Steam alone. Not only that, but it was also the fourth most played game on Xbox Game Pass. The game was a massive success and the general reception of the game was really positive. However, if you take a look at how the game is doing nowadays, you can quickly see that the game has lost almost 95% of its player base in just 6 months. It pains me to see the game at this state because I absolutely love this game. I played it for almost 400 hours and I had a lot of fun. Now, while I do understand that it's extremely difficult to actually maintain a player base in the asymmetric genre, and to be honest, the only one that has ever been able to do that is Dead by Daylight, half a year is still a much smaller time frame than I expected. If we compare TCM to Friday the 13th, for example, F13 only really started dying out and dropping below 1,000 players after the whole lawsuit incident. So what happened with Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Why did it start dying out so quickly? Well, there are multiple reasons, so let's address them in a chronological order. Right around when the game came out, the very first issue was brought up by the community, the pricing. While yes, everyone seemed to agree that the game was indeed very fun, there was no denying one key issue. The price tag was way too high for what the game actually offered. The game was priced at 40 USD. For that price, the game had 3 maps, 5 family members, and 5 victims. The game didn't really feature any unlockable rewards since the only cosmetic rewards you could unlock were different skins for Leatherface from the first movie, recolors for the victim characters, as well as behind-the-scenes photos from the original film. When it comes to the photos, I'm pretty sure that a huge chunk of the player base doesn't really even care about any of that, and even if you are a huge fan of the movie, you probably have already seen the majority of this stuff before. So what you really have here is a couple of skins and not much else. The game itself also did have its fair share of problems. The progression in the game was way too grindy. To level up your character, you needed to level up your account level. Each level would grant you a couple of points that you could spend on the skill tree. In addition to that, each character has their own unique ability that can also be leveled up 3 times. The biggest problem with this system was that it just took too long to build up your character. And since all the points you got from the level up would be universal to all characters, this meant that you could build up only one character at a time. If you wanted to build a different character, you would have to reset the entire skill tree of your previously used character and level up your current character again. You would have to do this over and over again until you hit the high levels like the late 80s and the 90s, which would honestly take a really long time. The other gameplay problem was the lack of variety in builds. You see, when you choose your first perk of the skill tree, the game immediately locks the 2 other paths completely. This stops you from really experimenting with the different skills and what builds you could make. There is still an ongoing issue with the lobby specifically. There can only be one of each character in the match. This, of course, leads to lobby dodging if people don't get the character they want to play as. There were times where I would sit in different lobbies for over 20 minutes because I just couldn't get into a match where someone wouldn't dodge. The other huge controversy comes from the monetization of this game. On the 28th of September, Gun released this post on their Twitter account detailing all the pricing on the upcoming content. I don't really have a problem with the skins or executions since that's all just purely cosmetic. However, charging $10 for one character is outrageous. Keep in mind that when they released their first DLC characters, those being Danny and Nancy, they were released at the same time. So that would cost you $20 just for the new characters alone. That's already half the price of the game. And every single piece of DLC content would cost you over $70. Keep in mind that the game has only been out for 6 months. And remember, the game itself is already 40 USD. Now I understand that they have to make their money somehow, since they probably lost a lot of potential sales when they announced that the game was gonna be free on Game Pass. Also, keep in mind that even though you pay the $10 for a character, there is a chance that you might not even be able to play as them. There's also something that just doesn't sit right with me when I see the Bloody Family skins being $5. This is something that should have just been an unlockable in the game since day one. The game already lacks unlockables as it is, so this should have been included in the base game in my opinion. And also, there's still something that I have to quickly mention. I'm sure most people have already seen the devs don't really respond well for criticism, and I get it. They do also get a lot of just name calling and other dumb stuff like that, and I understand it can be frustrating, but there is a better way to respond to these people than throwing playground insults back at them. Better yet, do not respond at all. All of this has ultimately led to this point. The game is rapidly bleeding players every single month and there isn't much left. The devs have also announced that production of new content will stop this year if there isn't enough people to buy it. And this just sounds like the final nail in the coffin, because at least to me, it seems like they are already giving up on this game by announcing this. While they have definitely gone to the right direction by giving out free content as well as paid content, and announcing really cool stuff like Barbara Crampton, the horror icon herself, joining the game, I still just don't think this game is ever going to bounce back again. To answer the question in the title of this video, no. I unfortunately don't think this game can be saved anymore. It's just too late for that. And it really sucks because the game can be a lot of fun. I certainly enjoyed my time with it, but this game was not meant to last forever. That was clear since day one, but it just sucks to see that it happened so quickly. So while I was making this video, Sumo Interactive released this statement on Twitter. Hey horror fans! The Sumo Nottingham team will shortly be hanging up their chainsaws and traps, as their work on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes to an end. The team will be working closely with the incoming developer to ensure a smooth and efficient handoff, with no interruption to the players. We'd like to thank Gun Interactive for being fantastic partners for the last 4 years, and for giving our horror-loving team the opportunity to sink their meat hooks into this iconic title. The studio is looking forward to sharing its next exciting project with you all in due course. Remember, use the shadows, stay hidden, and communicate with your team. Stay scary. Sumo. So the development studio of this game is already leaving, and when Gun was asked about who's taking over, they replied, "Stay tuned, we'll talk about the future next week." This made me even more pessimistic than I already was. This game's already in a very rough spot and now a new developer has to take over. And the burning question in my mind is this game really even worth a new developer at this point? Especially if they are already potentially planning to stop making new content for the game this year. And that's about everything I have to say about that. Thank you very much for watching to the end, I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more content discussing video games, make sure to leave this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a future upload. I will see you all next time with a hopefully more positive video. Until then, peace.